and welcome to the WAP podcast. That is the Wrestling Answers podcast, not the Cardi B song. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Joebot22. I, of course, am Miyamo Jeff 53. How are you doing today, Joe?
I'm doing good. We are prepared for this WAP, if you will. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun show. We've got some good things lined up today. So yeah, let's just jump right into it.
Like Philly D. What is it Philly D says? It was
Oh, let's get into the
I can't remember.
no,
No, I can't remember.
no, me neither.
No, that's great way to start the show. I just forget what I'm about to say halfway through. Anyway, our first topic of today is the women's tag belts. Now, we did touch on this somewhat last week, if you'll remember. Our first topic of last week was... Well, I don't know. No, it wasn't our first topic, was it? One of our first topics, rather.
I don't remember, to be honest.
But to be fair, I'll let the audience in. It feels like it's been quite a long time since we last recorded, but it's literally only been like 9 days, something like that.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
it
because
feels a lot longer.
we were talking about
It
Sasha
was
Banks and
yes,
Bianca
yeah. So
Belair.
it was
Yeah,
singles wrestlers challenging for tag team titles, and the point I brought up was the women's tag belts. Uh,
yeah.
and so that sort of leads into the start of this week's show, where I thought we could talk about our opinions on the women's tag belts. Because I think I did definitely comment on it last week, but I want to surmise it a little better rather than it being a tangent to something. So I'll let you take the floor
Yeah.
first here, Joe.
I don't see much of a point in in just the women's tag division altogether. I don't think. Well, when I say obviously there should be a tag division, but I think when it's split over two shows, it's not as appealing to me. Whereas if it was focused on one show, I'll be a lot more into it. Because at the moment, there's not a lot of tag teams that it seems like it's like um just weird singles coming together just to challenge for the title, which is definitely what we touched on last week. So like you can have like Bailey and Naomi challenging for him, and it's not something I'm interested in because the chemistry really isn't there. It's not like there's any history behind the tag team. It's just really thrown together. I don't really enjoy it.
Yeah,
That's pretty
yeah,
much all I have to say.
I get what you're going on about there. Like, similar to you, I do think a women's tag division should exist because I think a big part of the women's wrestling identity in WWE has actually been tag team matches, whether that be for the best or rather because they couldn't find a match to put the people in. But it's quite a large part of WWE's women's wrestling identity is tag matches. So with the conception of the women's tag belt, sorry, I thought it was a very good idea. Now, obviously, hindsight is 2020, and we've seen what has happened with the belts in the coming up on about 2 years. It might be just after even since they were introduced. Um, and I think we can all quite safely say they haven't been used how we would have expected them to have been used, perhaps.
Definitely, it feels like a bit of a waste of potential, really, because when it was revealed, everyone was like really hyped for it. They were just like, "Yeah, this is what we want to see," but it's not been. They've just not done it right. And I think they should definitely reinvent it sometime soon in maybe
Yeah,
a
I
more
think.
captivating way.
Yeah, I think a big problem with it is the WWE women's roster is not nearly as deep as the men's roster, and a big complaint with the men's roster itself was that the tag scene in the men's rosters was quite shallow. And then you compare that to the women's division, that's like saying the Mariana Trench is shallow compared to a paddling pool. Like, You see what I mean? Like, the depth of the women's roster across all shows is probably even still only equivalent to the men's roster on, like, Raw in total. Like, it is painfully shallow for the amount of titles they're trying to introduce. And I do think it's a good thing that these titles are being introduced, because it gives more people more things to do on the show. It gives them more reason to be booked. But it also really badly exposes the lack of depth in the women's rosters, especially when I think one of the reasons I brought this up was because last week they actually introduced NXT women's tag belts as well as the regular women's tag belts.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Oh, wow.
and my gripe with that is the idea of the women's tag belts was that they would be defended on all three shows. Now, we have seen, obviously, again, hindsight 2020, that isn't really the case. Like, they have, technically, yes, they've been defended on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. However, on NXT, it's mostly just a spectacle match. Like, it's Sasha and Bailey will come down, when they were tag champions, they would come down for, like, one or two tag matches against, I don't know, I'll be honest, I can't really think of any women's tag teams in NXT.
There was Oscar and
Yes,
that
and
name's
then Asuka
fleeing me.
and Kyrie Sane,
Kyrie Sane, that was
when
it.
they were,
Yeah.
I think they came down to NXT as well to have a few matches. But like, I think getting rid of the need for the women's tag belts on NXT by introducing new ones for NXT, it I don't know. I feel like it sort of works against itself. Like the idea was they would be used to elevate people of other platforms. And now you've taken away one of those platforms to elevate people. Because, when the tag belts would appear on NXT, people would, they'd set up and watch. They'd be like, ooh, you know, that doesn't happen every day, which is probably why they kept the appearances so sparse, was to make it a bit of a surprise. But then
Yeah.
you've just shallowed what was already a very thin roster between two sets of tag belts now. Because, like I just said, I can't give you a women's tag team in NXT right now, and they've already
No,
got
I
their own.
couldn't.
They've already got like a division. No, they've got their own like belts for that division. I couldn't tell you a single tag team in that division. In the women's division, I think I tried going through them last week and failed quite badly because half the ones I listed were already split up. But yeah, I think it just exposes a massive lack of people, or a lack of depth in the rosters, and they need. I don't know. I think what I'm trying to say is they should be treated better, or WWE should work to hire more women's wrestlers to make the division bigger. Otherwise, it's just a bit
Yeah.
of a pointless title because I think I said it last week. They're not being used as titles of their own. They're being used as plot devices for the regular women's title. Like they can't stand on their own 2 feet because they don't have the foundations to stand on. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So I think what we're mainly going for here is that we're very against having women's tag belts. Well, more than one of them anyway.
Yes,
Um,
I think that
I think
that's
one's enough.
something. Yeah, I think that's what we should be trying to get across, rather than WWE have made a mistake by putting them in so soon. I think they did the right thing by having them because obviously there is history behind the belts. The Jumping Bomb Angels back in the '90s, for example. But I think, especially with the introduction of these NXT women's belts, they only serve to show how frail of a division the women's tag scene is, or even just how frail the women's scene in general is in WWE. And
Yeah.
I think it's probably more emblematic of the business as a whole. Like, the women's division in most companies is a lot smaller than the men's division, and I think that's obviously because a greater portion of men go into wrestling than women do. But even then, you know, AEW, from my memory, I don't think they've got women's tag belts. But people
I'm
don't
not
really,
sure.
yeah, people don't really complain about their women's division though. If we go back
True.
to TNA, TNA had the knockout championship and then also the knockout tag team championship. Nobody really complained about those either because TNA actually had a fairly large women's roster where like you wouldn't be getting the same matchups every week, and these tag teams were actual tag teams. Like if I use Velvet Sky and Angelina Love as an example, they were probably the biggest women's wrestlers in the company for God knows how many years. They were They were an actual genuine tag team, so made sense for them to hold the titles rather than them just being two singles wrestlers who just got together and won the belts and there was no story there. So like it
Definitely.
can be done well. I think WWE just need to focus more on getting people into the division rather than trying to build it around very specific people. Because if you try and build it around very specific people, then you're going to be left with nobody else.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm not sure what else we can say. Um, I'm just looking forward to seeing what would come of these NXT championships. Hopefully, we can see some good storylines being picked up pretty soon.
Hopefully,
And
yeah, but I mean,
we'll see how it goes.
history has shown that I wouldn't be too hopeful even.
It's true.
So
Right, shall
yeah,
we?
yeah, we'll move on from that. Summarize that. We like the idea of the women's belts, the women's tag belts. They're just not being implemented properly. So topic 2 was steel cage matches. Now, because obviously the last 2 weeks we've done a gimmick match. I thought we'll continue the trend. I think what we'll try and do is we'll try and have a gimmick match each week until we start getting to like stupid gimmick matches.
Lingerie matches. We
uh, that will be an age restricted episode.
Yeah, that'll be our April Fool's episode.
Yes, yeah. So steel cage matches, Joe. What
I'm
what do you think about them?
I'm pretty pro on steel cage matches. I really enjoy. Oh, we say this every week, but assuming they're done correctly
Yes,
and they're
yeah.
not done too often, I really enjoy a steel cage match. One of my first memories of watching WWE was Royal Rumble 2012, where it was a triple threat steel cage match with Daniel Bryan, Big Show, and Mark Henry. Terrible match, but I really enjoyed it as a kid.
I think I
Um,
remember that match actually
I remember like
because
Daniel
I
Bryan like
think
jumping off the cage or
yeah,
whatever.
I can't remember if it was that match or if it was the match from a couple pay-per-views before where Daniel Bryan cashes in the Money in the Bank and
That was
pins
uh
whoever.
that was back in TLC, wasn't it? 2011.
Yes, yeah. I believe that was a steel cage match, wasn't it? Or am I thinking of
Uh,
something? I'm thinking of like
n-
during the Hall of Pain run, there was quite a few steel cages matches for
there
Marky
were a
Mark
lot.
Henry. Yeah, quite a few.
No, it was I want to see, was it a chairs match?
It might have been.
Might have been a chairs match. I don't
Anyway,
remember.
we got
But
off topic. What were you saying about the triple threat? Sorry.
no, I was saying it's an awful match, but it's one of my earliest wrestling memories, really, because it was just when I started getting into it, and I really enjoyed it at the time because it set up well, and steel cage matches, they're the perfect match where it's like at the end of a feud, or like someone's going to interrupt, and you're just like, oh, put them in a cage, no one can interrupt, but they always do.
Yes, yeah.
Uh, and yeah, I'll think of a few good ones. There's like, was it Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt, Chris Jericho versus Dean Ambrose?
Oh, well,
Um,
I wouldn't call the Jericho Ambrose match good.
I enjoyed it.
What was it? Payback 2016, something like that.
It was sometime 2016.
I just remember it's the one where Jericho takes a back bump onto a thumbtacks.
Yeah, that's why I
The
liked it
Ambrose
so much.
it was the Ambrose Asylum match. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that match. I
Oh,
didn't enjoy that
what
match.
else?
It was like 25 minutes long. Like it was not. Other than the finish, it was not a good match.
If you listen to our WrestleMania podcast from last year, we don't like long matches.
No, we don't. What over
That
and
31-minute mess. That was
oh
what was it?
no.
Charlotte Flair versus Ripley. God.
Oh yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
overall, I'm pretty pro on steel cages. I can't think of one that I didn't like.
I can think of a
So
few.
that's a pro. But I'll move on to you because
Yeah, so I think a steel cage match typically they're kind of hard to do badly. I think the only way you do them badly is when A, you don't use the cage, or B, it's just very interference heavy. So like if I'm gonna think of a good example of a cage match, my mind always goes to SummerSlam '94, Brett versus Owen. That's a very, very good cage match. Like the psychology in that match is very, very well done. If you were to think of that as a match on like its own in isolation, wait, was that SummerSlam '94 or was that WrestleMania 10?
I don't remember.
I think no, it is SummerSlam '94 because WrestleMania 10, Owen versus Brett is the opener, and then Brett wins the title in the main event. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so yeah, so
I don't know
yeah,
much.
yeah, I'm quite more the historian of the two of us here. But
Definitely, yeah.
um yeah, like when I think of like the best steel cage matches, I think of that. I don't know if they really count, but I think of like the old War Games matches, like
I
the
will
old
say they
War
count.
Games matches. I, I, I think they are their own stipulation, like because a War Games match is pretty much just like it's two steel cages sewn
Yeah,
onto each other.
I was gonna ask if that's the one where it's like two steel cages. No, I think it counts.
If
Well,
it
no,
does
because
count, I would just list a lot of the early Warzone not Warzone, War Games matches. If not, you know,
well, it depends. Because is the point in that match to escape the steel cage or to win by
eh,
pinfall?
uh, I think actually the original like War Games matches didn't have a top on the steel cage, but then from like 1990, I think they started putting the top of the cage on, so it would have been through pinfall. So it's more like a Hell in a Cell match in that aspect.
Yeah. No.
Um, but yeah, back to steel cage matches. Like the obvious example is go to Brett and Owen at SummerSlam '94, and then we look back even further. Like steel cage matches were generally used to end a feud, or they were like a big blow off. Like WrestleMania 2, King Kong Bundy versus Hogan in the cage. It wasn't a good match, but it was like a big blow off to. It wasn't really even a big feud. It was just sort of King Kong Bundy's this massive man, and Hogan's locked in the cage. How's he ever going to overcome it? Like, kind of like that. But
Yeah.
a lot of big wrestling moments have happened in steel cages. Jimmy Snuka. Jimmy Snuka dived off the top of the cage back in the 80s. I was like, I remember that is from the words of Mick Foley. That's the moment that made him want to be a wrestler. Like Snuka jumping off the top of the cage.
And we know
You
how
know, like
crazy
stuff
Mick
like that.
Foley is, so
Yeah, yeah. I think nowadays the allure of a steel cage is sort of worn off. I think with gimmicks like the Hell in a Cell and Lethal Lockdown in TNA, the use of a steel cage has fallen off as like a big blow off. We did see it, I think it wasn't last year, it was the year before, in Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston's feud. Uh, it wasn't a good match, but it was the blow off.
yeah.
Uh,
I, I was thinking of one I saw a while ago. Um, oh God, I don't remember. I think it was. I don't know. Maybe. I think it was Rey Mysterio versus JBL. Oh, I'll have to look it up. Hang on.
yeah,
But I remember watching it. I really enjoyed it.
yeah.
Maybe I could. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Hang on. No, I might be
But
wrong
yeah,
here.
like talking about steel cages, I think nowadays they're not nearly as big like a blow off thing as they used to be. I think they're more, you know, if you've got like a B tier feud, you'll finish it in a steel cage. If you've got like an A tier feud, you'll probably end up finishing it in like a no holds barred match or in the Hell in a Cell or something like that, rather than you would in a steel cage, like you would have used to have done.
Yeah, yeah. I can't find this anywhere.
That's fine. But yeah, steel cage matches. Like, I think and this is going to sound contradictory to a point I'm going to make later in the show. I think that it actually suffers from not having a pay per view built around it.
Really?
Like, yeah, I think there's just something about it that the match doesn't seem interesting anymore. Like, you never look forward to a steel cage match really anymore. Like, I'm trying to think the last big feud that had a steel cage match was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, where they had a steel cage match in Saudi Arabia. And like I wasn't looking forward to that match. I don't think anyone was looking forward to that match. And I think it's because we're so used to steel cage matches being very tame in comparison to not other feuds, other match types. Like your Hell in a Cell or your No Holds Barred or Extreme Rules or whatever kind of match. Because
Yeah.
a steel cage, it doesn't give you as much room for invention as something like a Hell in a Cell or an Extreme Rules match has. Because an Extreme Rules match is just a hardcore match, right? You could do anything in a hardcore match. In a steel cage, like, you can throw your opponent into the cage and jump off the top of it, and that's sort of it. Like, it. I think it suffers from the modern thought process behind matches of trying to one up other matches, in that they're just not as good nowadays because of that attitude towards matches. And do you know who helps perpetrate that opinion on matches, Joe?
So,
Do
so
you know
I was just
who it is?
googling this match. I'm trying to figure it out. But no, sorry.
What?
What was the question?
Do you know who perpetrates the idea of trying to one up other matches, Joe?
No.
Can you think of a single man who we've talked about on this show who loves to one up other people?
Oh, is it Ricochet?
It's that dickhead Ricochet. That little gimp. He's ruined steel cages. He's ruined Nightwing attires. He's ruined flippy shit. He's ruined everything. He is the sole reason that I don't watch WWE anymore. He's not actually. There's quite a few factors, but he is one of the large reasons. Bloody COVID rule breaking gimp.
I think it's Eddie Guerrero versus JBL. Oh, that could be wrong.
Oh, from like 04?
Maybe.
I'm
saying how much I like the match. I don't even remember what it was, but I
you don't
liked
even
it.
remember who was in it. Like,
I remember the bottom of the bottom of the ring broke and they crawled under. I remember that being
that
a
does
thing.
sound like an Eddie Guerrero thing to do, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember Big Show being in it for some reason.
Oh, he's been in loads of steel cage matches. Because in a steel cage match with Big Show, you know he's not climbing out. Same with Mark Henry. Put them in a steel cage. They're not climbing out. Good lord. Anyway.
Yeah, JBL versus Big Show, Bob Wire steel cage.
Oof. Well, if it's a barbed wire... Well,
That
why
was
are you
it,
going to
I
put
think.
barbed wire on the top of it? It's not like either man could climb out anyway. Jesus.
He's fat.
This fat son of a bitch. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Steel cage
we got
matches. Steel cage matches. They were
very
good.
Positive.
Now they're not. Because of Ricochet. It's all his fault.
Ricochet. Me and the boys hate Ricochet. He's going to be in every thumbnail we've done. He's going to be hovering over like
he
Otis.
wasn't. I don't think he was in. I don't think he was in last week's thumbnail. He will.
He wasn't. No.
And he'll inevitably end up in every video at some point, though.
We have to mention him now.
Yeah, it's part of our quota. There has to be.
I do a WAP joke.
Ricochet. Yeah, the quota is
one WAP joke, one mention
Joe
of
makes
Ricochet.
a WAP joke. I mention Ricochet, and then the podcast can go out. Those are the rules. We don't make them.
We're under contract.
Exactly. We're under contract.
It's our Spotify deal.
Yes. Yeah.
I know.
So
we're paid.
Yeah, moving on from Spotify to something that happened on Facebook Live. The Mixed Match Challenge / just mixed tag matches in general. What do you? Oh, okay. Well, I think we've got a bit of your early opinion there, Joe. But what do you think about a cheeky little mixed tag match? Little man on man, woman on. Oh, well.
They're not as fun as they used to be. It's gonna sound weird, but like back in the day, like back in it was like oh god, like 2006 era. Yeah, it was respectable to hit women. That sounds mad. That sounds bad. But what I mean is, like,
go on.
It's wrestling. People are going to get hurt, right? I've seen Beth Phoenix get her head cut open last year in the Royal Rumble. You seriously think they can't take a knockout punch from the Big Show?
Well,
Why are they so safe now? Why are they so safe? Women can hit the men, but men, it's not fun anymore because I remember like Randy Orton RKOing someone, like imagine that. Like,
well, he did RKO Nia Jax at the Royal Rumble 2019.
That is true. See, I just think the mixed tag matches, like you'll see the women like kicking the men, but you'll never see the men. These are wrestlers; they can take it.
Well, actually, I think
obviously if people are going to be upset about it.
What was
then don't, but still.
I think it was Extreme Rules 2019.
Right.
Baron Corbin, our favourite, hit he hit an end of days on Becky Lynch. And then he stared Seth directly in the eyes and said, "What are you going to do about it, you son of a bitch?" That was the moment that made me like Baron Corbin.
See, obviously it's wrong
that saved it.
to hit. to hit. It's obviously wrong to hit women, but like,
Yes, of
are
course.
you saying it like?
But these are also
Say
professionally trained athletes.
exactly.
It's their job to take a punch and a hit and whatnot.
Like if I had a fight with Ronda Rousey, I ain't cowering just because it's respectful. I'm doing my best. Because I'm gonna get kicked the shit out of
I was
anyway.
going to say you're not cowering because she's a woman. You're cowering because she's a former UFC champion. She would kick the fucking shit.
Exactly. So I'm gonna do my best. I'm just gonna take it because it's gonna hurt. I'm gonna block.
You probably will end up taking it. Like
I will. Yeah.
Ronda, please, Ronda,
sorry, Ronda.
Sorry, I called you a bitch.
Obviously, respectfully, like, but these are trained athletes. They know what they're doing. They
Respectfully
hardly
speaking.
They hardly hit each other anyway. Like, I sound like my dad now.
Wow.
It's all fake.
Wrestling fake.
Wrestling fake. It's still real to me, damn it. But still, but yeah, I feel like these are trained athletes. Come on, they can do it. Let's not be like so. That's like saying, oh, we can't have men football teams against women's football teams because.
Well, we don't get that because. But yeah, but we don't actually get that in like competitive, properly competitive scenarios because. I'm gonna have to word myself very carefully here, because genetically, the male body is built to be more athletically superior to the female body.
Definitely,
I think that's the correct way to say it.
Apparently, but still,
it's like, you don't get, other than like at like a young age, you don't get women playing rugby with men because professional rugby players are built like fucking cars. You know what I mean? They're like 5'11" and they weigh about 350 stone. Not 350 stone, but like 350 pounds. Like they weigh quite a considerable amount.
But no, my entire point is just like let's just do it.
Let them smack the shit out of each other.
I don't like mixed tag matches because they're too safe. It's like the whole point of it is having a man and a woman wrestling.
Yeah.
Together, and you're not even utilizing that. You might as well just have
two separate
a men's single match and a women's single match just back to back. Why don't you make it best of 3? Well, better than a tag match.
Best of 3.
It's stupid.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. What about a no DQ mixed tag match though?
Oh God!
Because in a no DQ, they can just beat the shit out of each other.
Is that a thing? That's fine. But then again, they'll still be too safe for it in the booking. It's like, oh, I just don't like it. They have an opportunity to.
You want gender equality. You want men to be able to beat the shit out of women, and you want women to beat the men out of men.
I want to see a fucking like Becky Lynch kicking the shit out of like Baron Corbin, and then like Ricochet coming in off the top rope and just fucking drop kicking her.
He would do that. That dirty heel.
He wouldn't have a mask on either.
No, he wouldn't. No, because he's a little gimp. For being such a gimp, he hates wearing masks. God. He is the number one enemy. Mate, Ricochet is officially the number one enemy of the WAP.
We'll get him on one episode.
We'll get him on. I'll just sit there.
It'll be like the business promo.
Yeah, I'll be like, don't you walk away from me.
Don't you log off, Ricochet.
Don't you leave the call, Ricochet.
But I feel like that would be good if we get Ricochet on.
Yeah, it's never happening.
All our listeners tweet at him.
Don't tweet at Ricochet. Don't tweet him.
say his attire suck.
Yeah, tweet him that. Don't tweet him to come on the WAP podcast. Thing is, if we ask him to come on, WWE's PR team will take one look at this, say we've called him a gimp 10 times, and he'll be like, "Oh, I don't know about that then."
I don't understand British humour.
Exactly. I think we're being
don't.
serious, which, for legal
I mean,
purposes, we're not.
we've already talked about getting Modine and John Cena on the podcast, so
Yeah, I'll get Modine on.
you're John Cena, yeah. Oh, that was great. I love that video. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
We're
right.
not even talking
Okay.
about steel cage
Yeah,
or mixed tag matches anymore.
Yeah.
What do you think about them, Jack?
I don't mind them, to be honest. I think they're just a bit of a laugh half the time. Like the mixed match challenge, which I alluded to earlier off Facebook. I just quite enjoyed. Like it was just a little laugh. It was like 20 minutes after SmackDown. Catch it on Facebook. Like it was fine. You know, I think a lot of the tag teams, because they all just had like good crack with each other, it was just like a load of laughs. Like Sammy and Becky was one. Miz and Asuka was a surprisingly good one as well. Like, you know, they just sort of worked. Like, because half the teams, I think the wrestlers just put themselves together because they were just like, yeah, we'll just have a laugh.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I know
remember?
it was Charlotte and
So I'll let you
AJ
finish.
Styles. Charlotte and AJ Styles was one of them. I remember, and apparently those guys are like shoot really good friends with each other. So like all of their promos, they were just having them laugh together. It was great. There was one where Sammy and Becky, another shoot couple of friends. Like one of their promos was just them eating cake, and they're just like, "Yeah, this cake's nice, isn't it?" And they're just like, "Yeah." That was it. It was great. WWE booking at its finest when when the talent actually gets to write their own fucking promos.
God, I just heard something fall in the other room. But yeah. Anyway, so I remember this is like the cringiest promo ever. It was right before Money in the Bank. I think it was around 2016. They were all sitting on ladders, and
Oh,
they were
oh, is
just
this
like,
the one? It's
my
all the
mixed
women are
tag
just
match partners is gonna
yeah,
beat your mixed tag match partner. Oh God, fuck
yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah. It's like wasn't that the one that James Ellsworth won the women's one for Carmella as well?
Probably. Oh God,
Oh God,
what,
great
what?
booking. What
That
a
was
pedo.
horrible. He is a pedo.
He is.
We
With
were talking about
this,
we're
we're
certainly
talking
gonna
about
design the
Ricochet.
thumbnail.
Yeah,
But can we just have
Ricochet's
a
a
red
kayfabe pedo.
circle crossed out?
Ricochet's a kayfabe pedo.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Ellsworth, any man with two hands has a fighting chance of getting sent to prison.
Is he in prison now?
I don't know.
Go on the podcast.
I don't know. I
Live
don't.
from the cell.
Yeah, we'll just like be video interviewing him. He'll just be like sitting there, back to the wall, just like, "Hey guys."
Can we get
Anyway,
Adam Blompier on the WAP
oh, do we have to? Jesus.
podcast?
Didn't
Let's
like him
move on.
before I found out. I didn't like him before I found out he was a pervert. Anyway, we'll move on to something that we were just talking about, Ricochet. Good news, we'll probably end up talking about him in this section as well, because we're talking about lucha wrestling. I like lucha wrestling quite a lot,
I'm the
if
same.
done well. Do you have any strong thoughts on lucha wrestling, Joe?
Well, strong thoughts mostly means negative, so no. But I do genuinely enjoy him. Um, I can't say much about it because I don't know much about lucha style of wrestling.
Yeah,
But
because
whenever I
yeah,
see him, I enjoy it. So
yeah, I
um,
think WWE nowadays benefits from having quite a lot of Hispanic and like lucha style wrestlers on their books. So like pretty much 80% of 205 Live is lucha guys. But you
true,
know,
true.
even since the 90s, WWE's had their lucha guys. Like in the 90s, it would have been more mid card guys like Essa Rios and Eddie Guerrero would have joined like at the end of the 90s, early 2000s. And then, like, after they bought WCW, they got all their lucha guys. You know, they got Rey Mysterio, obviously the biggest lucha star in the history of the business.
Probably, yeah.
But then, obviously, they got in guys from like ECW as well. So they brought in guys like Juventud Guerrero and Psychosis came in, Ultimo Dragon came in. Like, lucha has been, it's never been like the big thing in WWE because that's not the style of WWE. Like, the style of WWE is your big, showy, like set piece kind of a match. Like, you know, your big talent is always going to be some big burly fella who can cut a good promo, right? It's never going to be some tiny Mexican fellow who only speaks the language very basically. Like, you know what I mean? I feel
I'm
like
just
I'm
thinking of the
generalizing there,
South
but
Park episode now, where it's just like, you slept with my woman, I slept with you.
I actually remember watching that episode. It's one of the few episodes of South Park I actually quite like. But
Just like you said, big wrestlers cutting promos. I just thought, fucking
yeah, South Park gets it down like bang on. To be
that
fair,
episode. They do, they do.
like they got it bang on. What wrestling really is, it's just big fellas cutting stupid promos.
You slept with my woman.
That's like with your woman. But yeah, like in the modern time, obviously we've got all the 205 Live guys. We've got Kalisto,
Oh,
the
I
other
love a bit of
ones,
Kalisto.
Grand Metalik, Lindsay Dorado. That's the other one. You know, even NXT UK had that fella with the horns on his helmet. I can't remember
Oh,
his name for the life of me. I remember he used to be in WCPW as well, and I still can't remember his
oh
name.
my god.
Yeah, apparently he got ousted.
WCPW.
Apparently he got ousted for being a creep as well. So, you know,
Oh god, why is it all of them? All of the WCPW guys.
everyone associated with that company is going to get done at some point. I'm
God,
surprised. Well, to be fair, I was about to say I'm surprised like Kurt Angle hasn't, but he did get done for cheating on his wife. So, you know,
it's always something.
exactly. I'm trying to think, has Drew McIntyre been done for anything? I don't think he has. You know, I remember
Something
there's
will
a
come out.
yeah, there's a very funny story that his ex-wife or like ex-girlfriend or whatever told about him. And I remember this because I think it came out while he was still in TNA and he was like TNA World Champion as Drew Galloway. And it was I can't remember her name for the life of me, but it was some ex like diva. I think she was the GM of WWECW as well, like the ECW reboot for a while. And apparently,
Oh,
um, now kids, you might want to avert your ears to this, but apparently he asked her to scran his bottom.
oh my
Um,
god.
and apparently he had gruff knots. See, it's just setting with you, isn't it? It yeah. Oh, I can't believe that. I've known this story for a long time now, and I still don't believe it.
Oh god.
Like, this man, he, his ass was either so hairy that he couldn't wipe it properly, or he just didn't wipe his ass and was like, "All right, lass, eat me fucking arse out." Oh, oh.
Oh god. That's in my head now.
Drew McIntyre just bending over, just like, eat me
Oh
fucking
god.
arse.
Stop. Oh god.
Oh.
Oh. Sorry to all the listeners at home.
Yeah, I did say, you know, avert your ears. I gave you warning. Oh,
Oh my Jesus.
Good stuff.
I don't think there's much more we can say about
Yeah.
Lucha
And
wrestling.
anyway, back to Lucha wrestling.
You've ruined this now. The entire flow.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Obviously there was, Sin Cara. He was great,
Remember
He
him?
botched his entrance on his debut, and then he botched it the next week. And then they had the Sin Cara Azul and Sin Cara Negro, the best gimmick in the history of the WWE. It's the fake Sin Cara. Oh,
I've got a bit of a
storyline.
story for everyone.
I love the fake Sin Cara
about Sin Cara. When I went to watch Raw live, back in 2012, they also did a taping of Superstars beforehand.
Oh hell yeah! Gotta watch Superstars for free.
And he completely ruined it, Sin Cara, for me. So I just saw his entrance of him jumping on a trampoline.
That broke kayfabe for you. You saw him jumping on the trampoline. You're like, oh god, wrestling is fake.
I remember going to McDonald's. I was like, what the fuck is that? Why is he jumping on a trampoline?
It's trampoline, Joe.
I just thought he had like springs for legs. So it was like.
Well, I mean, if you've seen him wrestle, springs is probably the worst thing to describe him, considering how shit he was. God.
Maybe you should have put the trampoline in the middle of the ring.
He could just jump around on the trampoline in the middle of the match. It would have been more entertaining than the matches.
WWE has official trampoline wrestling matches. Not wrestling. Trampoline
wrestling. Oh, God.
Just see drunk homos
they're just
breaking bowls of shit.
They're just bringing some like yobbos off the street, and they're just like, "All right, get in the ring, you dirty knackers! Come on."
Will I get paid for that?
They come in. They're wearing like Lonsdale track suits, and like they do the taping in Burton. Like for people who don't live in the UK, that joke is going to go so far over your head. But to us, like that's a very local reference. But that is like the most trampy place, full of the most trampy people in the world. They tape it in Cooper Square, in the middle of the car park. Oh.
We gotta do a podcast one week where we just talk about. We just talk about stories. We need to tell the story of your Smash tournament.
Mate, they tape it in fucking Wing Wars. We completely ruined this section about lucha wrestling.
We're gonna have to cut half of our next topics because we've been going for an hour already. Oh my god.
I think we're just gonna have to leave lucha. Just like, I like lucha, innit? Like
we like lucha wrestling.
Yeah, we like tramp wrestling in Burton as well. I
didn't even finish what I was on about. Trampoline wrestling for WWE. Just hire loads of little kids and
hire a load of tramps off the streets of Burton.
We all had a trampoline. We all did trampoline wrestling.
Oh yeah, of course. I
used to pretend to be the Great Khali because I would have like tracksuit.
Why you full Lonsdale tracksuit on the trampoline?
I'm the Great Khali.
Yeah, well, I'm the Great Khali, me.
Comes out of the entrance music.
Got the Slazenger pumps on. Yeah, I'm the Great Khali.
Oh my god.
Oh, people who don't live in the UK, like half of this is just going completely over their head. Like, people won't understand what we mean when we say a full Lonsdale tracksuit and some Slazenger pumps. But they're
Imagine the Great Khali comes out fucking Slazenger pumps.
he comes out with like an Everlast like jacket on as well. Oh, He's got like a Puma t-shirt he got from Sports Direct for £8.50.
Imagine WWE based in the UK. They'll just be fucking drinking out of Sports Direct mugs. Just fucking...
Yeah, they got like Sports Direct mugs and they just smash them over people's heads.
Primark suits. Fucking.
Oh god.
Yeah. Right, let's move on.
Right,
Number
we'll
5.
move on completely. We'll just abandon Lucha, like WWE did back in the 2000s. Right, so this next topic is quite a big one. Pay-per-views named after gimmick matches. So this is pay-per-views like obviously Fatal 4-Way back in the day as a one-off, thankfully. Then you got your ones like Hell in a Cell, TLC, Extreme Rules, Money in the Bank, even Royal Rumble. I guess you could count towards this. Survivor Series as well.
Did you say Elimination Chamber?
Elimination Chamber as well. There's another one. There's loads.
Oh god.
King of the Ring. Well, I guess it's more like a tournament one.
I was about to say SummerSlam.
At the Summerfest.
Oh my god.
Right.
What now?
Yeah. So, what do you think about pay-per-views being named after like certain gimmick matches?
I hate
what do
it.
you think?
The same.
Wow.
It's just when there would be it'll be like a week before, it'll be like 1 week till we see the Elimination Chamber match at the Elimination pay-per-view for the Eliminator. But it's just like they say it so many times, and it's just like, oh, bugger off. And sometimes they don't even work, like Fatal 4-Way, for example. Like it was just stupid. I imagine we had an entire pay-per-view called like Lumberjack match. Whoa!
Well,
yay!
Well, I mean, as we know from this, if they do that, they are scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Absolutely. But
that's when the show is in dire straits.
Yeah, but imagine if they came out, tag team match. Oh yeah, I'll definitely watch that.
the pay-per-view is called Tag Teams.
Exactly. I'll put my £10 towards that. No.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, it's
that's a happy customer right there.
It's kind of
the WWE title
honestly.
defended in a tag team match. Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I think it takes away from the effect of some of those kind of matches, like, Hell in a Cell. Because Hell in a Cell, it only comes out once a year, and it's always going to come out at least once a year at that pay-per-view. So it feels disingenuous, because obviously back in the day, a Hell in a Cell match would have been reserved for, like, your big feud. Like, your Shawn Michaels Triple H, Shawn Michaels Undertaker, Stone Cold and Kane, / Undertaker. Like their first blood match was in a Hell in a Cell match for some reason. But anyway, Undertaker and Mankind. Like, it's reserved for these big matches, and then nowadays you get it for Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns, Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. That'll draw some dimes. That will. Jesus.
That'll put butts in seats.
That'll put butts in seats.
It gets to the point where you only see these matches like once a year, and you're just like, we can see a TLC match in December, and it's like,
yeah.
No, I want to see like 2 of them a year. Exactly.
I think the biggest problem with it is it sort of enforces the idea that the rest of the year round you're not going to get these pay-per-view matches. Like, all you're going to get is normal matches, lumberjack matches.
Ones when it's done right, it's like the Money in the Bank match, or
I think ones like the Royal Rumble and Money in the Bank actually work as pay-per-views, because like a Money in the Bank match isn't supposed to have a feud going into it, or like a major feud going into it, and its position in WWE's calendar works for it. Like, it's halfway between WrestleMania and SummerSlam, the 2 biggest pay-per-views of the year, right? Other than Royal Rumble, but like, it's positioned halfway through the calendar. It's sort of like a 5th member of the Big 4 these days, because Money in the Bank, it does have an impact, like, your Big 4 pay-per-views usually do. It's not really a pay-per-view you can skip these kind of days now.
Actually,
I say that I did skip it last year, but like typically, like when you want to skip
it was
because you want to know
stupid
who.
last year, though.
Oh yeah, it was strange. Like they had the Money in the Bank ladder match in Titan Towers, and there was the bit where like AJ and Daniel Bryan managed to break into Vince's office or something like. It was weird.
And they
But
just
anyway,
slowly like walked out. Ugh.
yeah, it's so strange. Anyway, though, like Money in the Bank sort of is okay. I think Money in the Bank and Royal Rumble and Survivor Series as well. I would say they're exempt from falling under this gimmick match kind of one more so because like they have a purpose. You know, the Royal Rumble match sets up who's going to be main event in WrestleMania. The Money in the Bank
Yeah,
gives somebody a free title shot. You know, Survivor Series, it's not as important, you know, but like it's
but
a
it's fun.
historic kind of a thing, right? You know, they've been doing these Survivor Series matches since 1988, I believe. Like they've been doing them for years and years and years now. So it makes sense to have this like stipulation still be around.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I can't say much other than I just don't like it, and
Mm.
I can't. Yeah, I just literally can't say more about it because it's just stupid. It takes away from every other match in the card, which I feel like Royal Rumble and Money in the Bank kind of do, but it works because
Yeah,
they're
I
such good
suppose.
matches anyway. But um, but yeah, with lots of things like TLC, you're just thinking, oh, I'm just gonna watch the TLC match, so it's not really worth it.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I don't like that part of it. Like if it was called like I don't know, just something other than TLC or well, I guess TLC is
Well,
kind of exempt because it is like tables matches and ladders matches and
even
yada
then,
yada.
like
That.
I don't think like TLC really you should leave out of the conversation for it because like TLC is when I think of like these pay-per-views that are based almost solely around there will be one of these matches and it sort of takes away from it being around for the rest of the year. I think of that and I think especially of Hell in a Cell and Extreme Rules because Extreme Rules it's a pay-per-view built around no DQ matches, right?
Yeah.
The worst thing about Extreme Rules is 9 times out of 10 half the matches aren't even Extreme Rules matches. So you either go all the
Yeah.
way and you have all the matches be Extreme Rules because on a pay per view like that, you can. It's not like a Hell in a Cell match where you have to have everybody's match in the cell and you'd have to like keep lowering it and raising it. You know,
Yeah.
Extreme Rules match. Just let everyone have a fucking hardcore match rather than let 3 of the 8 matches be hardcore matches. Just do them all hardcore at that point because
Like even
then
if like the only spot in it is like you use a chair, like even then, like
yeah,
just
like
still.
as long as there's consistency, that's fine. Like because having a normal match on a show like Extreme Rules, I think it takes away like you know have your normal match on Payback or the Money in the Bank undercard. Extreme Rules supposed to be extreme, not some of it's extreme. The rest of it's normal rules. You're not going to call a pay per view normal rules. You call it Extreme Rules.
Yeah. I think that's all you can really say, isn't it? So
Yeah, they're shit. That's
they're
my closing
rubbish.
statement. They're crap. Get rid of them, WWE. Stop
Except
call.
Money in the Bank and Royal Rumble.
Bring back the cool names you had, like Breakdown and um, some of the in your house names. Like bring back Beware of Dog. I like that one. Or Canadian Stampede or something. Just anything. Just get rid of the
Just
name
anything.
TLC. It's boring. What was the one TLC replaced? Because like there used to be a name for it. Was it the one Vengeance Day? Was it? Because Vengeance Day is a sick name.
Vengeance?
You know
No.
what? Just
Yeah.
let them bring back Vengeance Day. Vengeance Day is a sick name, and I think they should bring it back. They brought back Backlash. Why can't they bring back
No, it's not
Vengeance Day?
Vengeance Day, is it?
Yeah, Vengeance Day was a pay per view name. can't remember how many times they did it. The New Year's Revolution. New Year's Revolution's a sick pay-per-view name. I don't know why they don't bring that back.
Yeah, it's just Vengeance, isn't it?
Was it just Vengeance? I could have sworn it was Vengeance Day.
There
I'm
is one
thinking of
that has.
Armageddon. I'm thinking of Armageddon. Armageddon's the December pay-per-view. Or it used to be, rather. Bring back Armageddon. Armageddon's a sick name.
Oh no, Vengeance Day is a NXT takeover, but it's just Vengeance.
Oh, right. Yeah. That'll be where I got it from.
That's coming up soon, actually.
Oh, NXT Vengeance Day. Huh.
But no, I mean, it's...
Yeah, just bring back cool pay-per-view names. Like, just rename TLC Armageddon, and nobody will bat an eyelid. Like, bring back New Year's Revolution. You know, stuff like that. Like, cool. Just bring back the cool names. Get rid of these shitty TLC tables, ladders, chairs.
Oh,
How's that supposed to make me excited for the
Night of
pay-per-view?
Champions.
No, well, Night of Champions,
So
I think they actually do still have. Or it's like Clash of Champions now,
do
rather.
they?
I don't know if they had it last year, but I know they had it the year before.
I
But
remember
I
that
think
was pretty late into the year.
yeah, it was like September time, so that would be like the pay-per-view
Oh, right.
between. That would be the pay-per-view between SummerSlam and Hell in a Cell, typically. I don't know what they do there now, other than like if they don't do Clash of Champions, I have no clue what they do there now.
Oh
Actually,
no, it's definitely not Vengeance. Because Vengeance 2011 was the one where it was Mark Henry versus Big Show where they broke the ring.
uh,
And that was obviously before TLC.
yeah. Okay, well, it doesn't really matter. Just bring them back and get rid of the shit names. That's all I'm saying. WWE, if you're listening, which you're not, because you probably turned off after I called Ricochet Gimp. Just bring them back. Like,
Yeah, go away.
exactly.
So
now
should we move on from there?
yeah, we'll move on to topic number 6. Does WWE have too many championships, Joe?
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
There we go. Segment finished. Number set. No, we'll stay.
Well, we talked about it earlier. They definitely
we did.
do.
Yeah. We did actually talk about this earlier with the women's tag belts because we were saying in that obviously the NXT women's tag belts are unnecessary, but more than that, there's I think even more than that,
Each
there's
show
too many
has the same amount of titles.
Well, let me think.
Because for every Raw Tag Team Championship, there's a SmackDown Tag Team Championship.
Yeah.
There's 2 Heavyweight Championships. There's 2 Women's Championships. There's the Intercontinental Championship and the United States Championship. And you got all the NXT ones and the NXT UK ones.
There's now an NXT equivalent for everything. NXT UK has a World Championship, a Women's Championship, and a Tag Team Championship, and they now have a secondary championship called. It's not actually a championship. I think it's called Heritage Cup, which is.
Oh.
It's pretty much just like a big trophy they carry around, but it is technically their secondary championship now.
Oh, and you can't forget the 24/7 championship.
24/7 championship as well. So how many titles is that? That's 4 for NXT
and the
UK.
Internet Championship.
Oh man, just leave that one in the past. We've already talked about Zack Ryder. You can take it back to 2011 for all I care.
And the $1 Million Champion.
Oh mate, that died with Ted DiBiase Jr.'s career. But if we think about it, I'm gonna try and count. So NXT has men's and women's championships, North American championships, men's and women's tag belts. That's 5. The main roster has Raw and SmackDown championships, Raw and SmackDown tag team championships, US and Intercontinental championships, women's tag belts, 24/7 belt. So that's 8. So that adds up to 13. NXT UK, add another 4 onto that. 17 championships. 17 championships across 4 shows. 18 if you include the
God.
Cruiserweight title on 205 Live. So there's 18 champion, 18 active championships. 18.
Yeah.
That is obscene.
What is the point? What is the point?
What? Oh.
When you only have like 14 wrestlers,
Exactly.
pretty much
Like,
everyone has one. They're giving them away.
might
It's
as
like
well
a
be.
participation trophy.
It feels like
Oh.
that at times. Like, the WWE, because they have so many championships, I don't know who holds each belt when, because they all change hands so often these days. I never know who's champion of what.
Like,
Like,
who's 24/7 championship? Let me look it up.
I think it's Bad Bunny. I think he's still 24/7 champion from when he came out and sang Booker T at the Royal Rumble, which is one of our mates' favourite moments in wrestling history. But
Booker T came out. Just stood there.
Booker T came out, stood there, did nothing, went back to the back, and that was it.
Yeah, it's Bad Bunny.
Yeah, thought it was.
R-Truth won it 49 times.
Yeah, he might. He's the only person who seems to know what to do with the belt. So
Rob
fair enough.
Gronkowski held it for the longest. Tucker held it for the
Wait,
shortest.
how long did Rob hold it? How long did the Gronk hold it for?
67 or 68 days. Couldn't hold out for an extra day.
Jesus. Funny 69. Funny Reddit moment.
They even got the oldest champion, which was Pat Patterson. The youngest is Bad Bunny.
Pat Patterson's dead, isn't he? He died, didn't he? I think he did.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, he did. Because I remember.
Well, he held the championship at one point.
Yes, he did. That would have been the Raw reunion or Raw 25th anniversary or one of them kind of shows.
Oh, this isn't fair. Heaviest champion, there's the revival, both of them.
Heaviest champion, Joebot 22.
The lightest champion is Kelly.
That sounds about right. I mean, Kelly's a very very slim and small woman, so.
Oh yeah, he did die. December 2nd, 2020. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I thought I remembered it because I remember I went on Twitter and half the people were like, "Rip Pat Patterson," and then the other half of people were like, "Yeah, don't forget he was a massive paedophile." So.
It's always WWE.
Can't please anyone on Twitter, can you? You can't just let somebody rest for a day. You have to remind everyone they're a big stonking paedophile. Which, yeah, it's not exactly good that they're a big stonking paedophile, but just let people fucking grieve. Like, one of these days, I'm probably just going to put Twitter on here, and I'm just going to go on like a 45-minute rant about how much I fucking hate Twitter, but I can't stop using it. So it's like,
what, if I ever have to miss a podcast, then I'm just going to
sit here. I'm just going to sit here. I'm just going to rant about Twitter. It's going to go up as a bonus episode. It's just going to be me fucking complaining. Wait, I mean, that's pretty much what half of my streams are. Is just me sitting there either complaining or just waffling about something. Well, when I actually stream, that is.
You're like a granddad in a rocking chair. Oh, I don't like what the world's come to these days with the Twitters.
Oh, fucking hate
these dream stands.
Oh, don't get me. I'm genuinely contemplating doing an episode complaining about Twitter at this point. Like, you're actually you're making me so angry thinking about Twitter that I'm genuinely considering later tonight recording an episode just complaining about Twitter and uploading that as a bonus episode. Oh.
Right, yeah, well, let's move on now.
Back to the championships. Yes, I think WWE has way too many championships. 18 across.
Way too many. Get them gone.
5 brands, 2 of which are like nobody's watching anyway. So, who the fuck is watching 205 Live and NXT UK these days? Like, even when NXT UK came out, I wasn't watching it. I watched the first NXT UK takeover. That was it. I ain't watched shit of it since. And I only watched the first one because I knew Walter was going to be there. And I really liked Walter from his indie matches because I used to watch like a load of indie wrestling. Walter is sick, right? Problem is, the show he's on is terrible, so I don't know what he's doing anymore.
It's gonna get to the
Like,
point
I
where
don't
WWE like, oh, no one's watching 205 Live. Let's add another belt.
God, they will. They'll make like cruiserweight
They
tag
will.
belts or some stupid shit like that. They'll have cruiserweight
Yeah.
women's division, which is like half the women's division anyway is cruiserweights. So like, oh, they're more than half of it.
That was just let Nia Jax go fully bloody. Nia Jax is ready for the belt now. No offense to Nia Jax, she is a very lovely lady.
Well, she's also very good at injuring people.
That is true.
But you know, that's an aside.
When's Kyrie Sane returning?
Oh, she's retired.
Or did she leave?
Was she retired?
Maybe, I don't know.
No, she's retired.
Shit.
Yeah, she works for WWE Japan now. She's just like a talent correspondent in Japan now. She's retired. She's still under contract with the company, but like she's just working.
Oh, don't wrestle Nia.
The thing is, I think that was genuinely her last match. Was against Nia Jax.
Probably.
It was either against Nia Jax or it was or it was like the tag match that
Seth Rollins.
those two had against, who was it? It was Becky and Charlotte. It was TLC 2019. I doubt that was their final match, but if it was, she did get like knocked fucking loopy in that match. So I think the reason she retired was just like head injury after head injury, because yes, that was it. Yeah, she got a bad head injury in that match, was out for a while, then she came back for a bit, was still tagging with Asuka, had a singles match with Nia, got another head injury, retired a couple weeks later. That's really sad. That's really, really sad, that is.
Really?
Because Kyrie Sane, I believe, was only just over 30. Or like just around 30.
Oh god, I'm on a Wikipedia now. Let's have a look. 32 years.
32. See, like, I think it's emblematic of the women's division in WWE. You know, I keep saying bring more people in, right? You know, call people up or whatever, get them wrestling in these rosters so that you know, at least your roster has depth, right? Problem is, as we've seen with Nia Jax, you get people that aren't ready and they injure people, they hurt people. And when they're hurting your biggest stars, like Becky Lynch, like Kyrie Sane, and like I remember she injured Charlotte a couple years ago as well. Like, you have to consider it's not our fault, it's hers. But then, after you consider that it's her fault, you then have to realise, oh shit, we're the person constantly putting her in all these big matches that she's not ready for, and she keeps injuring people. We need to do something about this. We need to send her back to developmental, which I think they should have done years ago at this point.
Yeah. I don't know how they still haven't done it.
Well, it's because they don't have anybody else. The only reason they keep her up here is because she's like a good like mid-level opponent for any like up-and-coming face women's wrestler. Don't have a feud, stick her with Nia Jax. Because she's just this big brute of a woman. You know, might as well. You know? And the worst thing about Nia Jax is, right? The worst thing about it is she seems to refuse to, at least on like social media, she seems to refuse to acknowledge the fact that she is the problem here. She writes everyone saying, you're not a good wrestler, you're not good enough. She seems to write them all off as haters. But she, you know, she's actually injuring people. She has a very bad track record of it. Like, you know, people rag on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is a good wrestler, and he's typically a safe wrestler. It's just like, you know, he has injured Balor and like Sting, but those were like very unfortunate circumstances, right?
Yeah.
Nia Jax fucks up basic moves and injures people. Like, she fucked up a shoulder breaker and dropped Charlotte Flair on her head. She broke Becky Lynch's nose and gave her a concussion. She dropped Kyrie Sane on her head and gave her a concussion. You know? Like,
Yeah.
she's been wrestling for how many years at this point? Like, 6 years now? Because I remember she came into NXT around, 2014, 2015, right? She's been doing this for nearly 10 years now. She should have got this out of her. She should have got this out of her wrestling by now. She should have got this out of her. You know, Ronda Rousey, she only wrestled for a year. She never injured anyone. She didn't hurt anybody, like injure anyone. Obviously, like, you know, her gimmick was she was the MMA person, so like she injures people, like, you know, with an armbar. But in shoot, she never injured anybody. Fucking Ronda Rousey, the woman who she literally has only wrestled for 1 year of her life, is a better wrestler and a safer wrestler than the person who's been probably training for the last 10 years and has been actively doing it for the last 7 years. At that point, WWE need to see some sense and just get rid of her, or send her back down to NXT, or just get her to sit in developmental, because they've done this with the male wrestlers before. Right? Big Show had to go back down to OVW back in 2000 because he was a big fat fucking oaf. You know? I remember, who was it recently? There was someone, like, not many years ago that had to go down to NXT because they just weren't good enough. Yeah, it might have been Dolph Ziggler, I think. No, it wasn't because he wasn't good enough. It's because they needed people for NXT. But, like, you know, there's a couple examples of people who they just get demoted down.
Oh, was it
because they're just not good enough?
Maybe Tyson Kidd?
No, I think Tyson Kidd was just sent down there because, like, his style of wrestling worked with the people on NXT. Like, he was, you know, like a high intensity, like Ring of Honor kind of a guy. And a lot of the guys they brought in were like from Ring of Honor and New Japan and stuff. So I think they just took him down because they knew he could wrestle good matches, just had no character. But, you know, I think the only reason they don't do it, and this is going to get into like, wrestling politics now. The only reason they don't do it is because she's The Rock's cousin. Like, she is Shoot, The Rock's cousin. And she'll just go and complain to The Rock. And he just won't work with the company anymore. Like, I think the company are just scared that she will just talk to The Rock, and The Rock just won't work with the company anymore.
Yeah, but then again, you got to see The Rock. Like, if he really respects the company, he's gonna have to see how much trouble Nia is causing. Surely.
But the thing is, she's his family, so he might not see it that way. He might just see it as, yeah, she's made a couple of mistakes, but they're like, you know, only like once in a couple of years, right? Why should she have to go back down to developmental? He might see it like that, and then see it like, you know, they're disrespecting his family. And then he might just say, fine with me then, I just won't work with you again.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, but I don't know, there's some part of me where it's just like, there's got to be a line where, like, you have to say,
I think... I agree with you there. I think there does have to be a line where WWE just say, right, you just have to go. You have to go.
Yeah. But no, I think we've been on this subject a bit.
Yeah, we've sort of just done like a whole section of Nia Jax here, rather than talking about the Too Many Championships.
I think instead of our number 8 on our list, we should just...
Nah, we'll do the number 8 as well.
Yeah,
I think we're only at like an hour and 20 minutes. You know, first pay-per-view was an hour and a half. Pay-per-view. The first podcast was an hour and a half. So, number 7 now. Topic number 7, because obviously last week we covered, was it Royal Rumble 2013? We did that was topic number 6, but I've moved it to number 7 this week. Last week we did a pay-per-view that is somewhat close to Joe. This week we're doing one that's, again, somewhat close to me. I say somewhat because I've actually reviewed this pay-per-view before. Now,
Yep.
long-term viewers of the channel may remember a short-lived and no longer available for the reason that I don't want the general public to ever see it ever again. They may remember a series that I made called Review Master Jack. It's a horrendous name. I don't know why I called it Review Master. I made it sitting...
Sounds like a child's YouTube channel.
It does. Well, to be fair, when I made it,
God.
how old am I now? Shouldn't say that. Shouldn't really say how old I am on YouTube. I was 3 years younger than I am now. This was 3 years ago, so I was... This was like when I was first trying to actually get into YouTube, so like... It was one of my first long-form videos I ever did. This wasn't my first review, Fastlane 2018. My first review...
About half an hour, wasn't it?
Yes, this one was 23 minutes long. I did an Elimination Chamber one.
Wow.
A couple weeks before, which was 26 minutes long.
Oh, wow.
No, that was longer. It was a longer pay-per-view, and there was more for me to talk about in that one.
I thought it was really short.
No. The Review Master videos, you've seen them. They're not good.
I want to be nice, but they're all right.
Joe,
the points you're making were good, but it was.
Yeah, the points I made were good.
It
However,
was very cringe.
Yeah, the format of the video. The format of the video is what ruined those reviews.
You with glasses on, be like, "Hello, everyone."
Yes, they.
Oh, God.
The contents I covered.
Yeah.
It was probably of a similar quality to these. Obviously, this is probably a lot higher because I'm older and like I know more about wrestling now, and I know how to actually talk into a microphone rather than put on a silly voice and dress up like a tramp, essentially. But
WWE are ready to sign.
Is it ready to sign me for the Burton taping? Yeah.
Trump matches. I don't know.
But yeah, those reviews are going to stay unavailable to the general public.
A million likes and no.
Million likes. I'll give you about 5 seconds of it, and that's it. But yeah, the reason I chose Fastlane 2018 was because, one, I wanted to talk about it outside of that video, and two, Fastlane is this weekend. So,
this weekend?
good timing. It is. Fastlane is this weekend.
Oh shit, yeah. It's the 21st, isn't it?
It is.
Oh my god, this year's going quickly, guys. Oh my god.
It is. Well, it's because, lucky for us, in the UK, if you couldn't tell from our accents, no, we are not Latvian. Coming out of COVID restrictions, so the days seem to be going quicker as we're getting closer to actually being able to go out and meet our friends in sociable locations, rather than having to talk over Discord calls and occasionally see each other in college and sixth form and whatnot. Yeah. But back to Fastlane. Obviously, Fastlane is this weekend. I have a history with Fastlane due to the video I made. So I thought I would just very briefly talk about what I remember, because I haven't watched Fastlane since.
But funnily enough.
Strangely enough, I haven't gone back and watched that pay-per-view. I don't know why.
But funnily enough, I had a memory last week of me crying at Fastlane, and now you cry at the memory of... No, not Plus thing.
I
don't remember
cry
me
when I
crying.
remember the video that I made.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do the voice, nor am I going to get the Rey Mysterio mask and sunglasses out. Mostly because the sunglasses I wore in that video are actually broken. So, like, I think I actually broke. I do still have the mask, to be
No.
fair. I do still have the mask, but the glasses are broken.
Oh,
I don't
I
know.
could have gone
I'll
in the
tell you where I
museum.
got that mask. I got that mask in Mexico. I went to Mexico a long time ago, and my mum bought me and my brother wrestling masks. And obviously, one of them was Rey Mysterio, as we saw in the video. There was another one for, I think it was Luther, he's some big guy in either like CMLL or AAA or something. He's really big in Mexico, and I have no idea where that mask went because we still had it. Like we brought obviously both of them home, and I have absolutely no clue where that mask has gone. It's just disappeared. But yeah,
He's took it back. He's just like,
Luther broke
no one can
in halfway
imitate
through the
Luther.
night and was like, "Give me the mask back, AC." No, I doubt that's what he sounds like.
And you're
Anyway,
like,
yeah, sitting there with my
yeah.
Rey
So
Mysterio mask on,
give
I'm like,
your quick summary.
"Hello, Luther." Yeah, so Fastlane 2018, from memory, a very uneventful pay-per-view. It was the pay-per-view in build to WrestleMania 34, obviously. I think I actually said in the Review Master video I would review WrestleMania. I never did. Good. That WrestleMania was shite. But I remember the pay-per-view didn't really do a lot to build to WrestleMania. It had a six-pack challenge match for the WWE title, which AJ Styles won because obviously he was champion going into WrestleMania. It had a tag match, which I can't remember. There was a US title match, which was Bobby Roode versus Randall Keith, which Randall Keith won. I remember that much at least. Or did he? Actually, I can't remember. I just remember Randy was in it, and then he was also in the Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania. The reason I don't remember a lot of that pay-per-view, if I'm being honest, is because that pay-per-view was incredibly forgettable. It wasn't a very good pay-per-view. But it's one of those pay-per-views that I feel like I'm always going to remember, at least in like basic terms, because of my attachment to it. Sort of like your Royal Rumble 2013 thing. I don't really remember the
Yeah.
pay-per-view too well, but I do remember my feelings about the pay-per-view because obviously they were
I'm the same.
recorded in video form. Mine were, at least.
My oh my god! Imagine me crying to sleep because of
Oh god. Trying to. Jeez, you would have been. Oh, I'm not gonna say how old you would have been because obviously I don't want to dox you.
Oh yeah. I was about to say
Don't
it,
want to say how old we are. For those wondering, yes, we are actually 35-year-old men.
yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Fastlane
I think that was the
2018.
movie.
It was just one of those pay-per-views that I feel like everyone's just gonna forget except for me because I remember I made the video. Obviously, nobody saw it. Thank fuck. Actually, I say that, I think it was one of my highest viewed videos that wasn't a stream. So, you know.
There you go. Got to get the views now. You got to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Got to get the numbers up. I think it probably has more views than the first episode of WAP, which not surprising.
Wow.
It's only been 2 weeks since that video came out.
How's the views doing on WAP? You keep talking. I'll go have a look.
I think it was about 11, maybe 10 or 11. Anyway, yeah, Fastlane 2018. Like, it was just such a forgettable card that it's sort of looped back around, and it's one of those ones that I remember sheerly for the strange reason that I made the video on it, because I just decided in 2018 I was gonna break into the wrestling YouTube scene, guns blazing, sunshine glinting off of my sunglasses, And then I made 2. They were both crap, and then I never made another. Technically, actually, I did make 2 more Review Master Jack videos, but both of those I've gone on private, and they're not coming off private. Actually, no, I deleted one of them completely. It's not even on private anymore. I just completely deleted it because it was so terrible. But episode 3 is probably the one people remember, if they remember any of them. I hope they don't. I'm not going to say what it is, and you're not going to find it because it's private. And only I have the original video file, so fucking have some of that. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I just remember it.
I'm just looking at some of your old videos now because I'm looking at the WAP. But
yeah, see, my channel, like, it definitely is strange. I think when the streaming era started was when I actually started to use this channel properly. Because, like, obviously I'd made stuff on the channel before, as Joe will have seen. I did my Yu-Gi-Oh! Unboxing videos, where I unboxed some structure decks I bought off Amazon. I remember my brother actually filmed the pack opening that we did. He never uploaded it, which was annoying because actually I thought the pack opening was all right. We got like decent cards in the pack, and this was right after I realised how to act on a camera. So like, I was talking and trying to keep the viewer entertained rather than my brother, who, bless him, still is the most boring person on a camera you'll ever see.
yeah.
Like, be honest, Joe. You've watched his streams before, haven't you?
Yeah.
When he's by himself, this is a complete tangent from the video and like Fastlane 2018. It's vaguely linked. When he's on his own,
God.
the content isn't very interesting, is it? Like, if he's got somebody in the party with him, if he's got someone in the party with him, like you or one of his mates, it's all right. By himself, I don't think he gets how to interact with the video. Even if there's nobody watching the stream, what I do is I still like try and spark up a conversation, pretty much with myself. But like, it's something for the video, Like, yeah, I think you do it sometimes as well. Like, you do have like bits where you're quiet, but like you have to try and say something, Otherwise, the video is just it's nothing. It's literally nothing if you say nothing.
I've done so many streams where it's just literally been me just talking to myself, so I'm kind of used to it. At this point, so.
Yeah, like I did it for all of my Detroit Become Human streams, obviously. Although thankfully that was a good game to stream because it was actually like it actually got reactions out of me. Like when I did my solo Rocket League stream, I pretty much spent the entire stream just talking to myself because Rocket League it's a better game to stream than it is to make like videos of, I feel. But still,
Yeah.
I think our streams together work better than my solo stream of Rocket League because like we're just having a chat pretty much while we're playing Rocket League, rather than in my stream I'm just sitting there waffling about why people should play Yakuza for like an hour.
Just directing it towards me.
Yeah, pretty much. Right.
Oh god. Right. Anyway, let's
yeah, we'll just this podcast is starting to just
rambling about the channel.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll move on to topic number 8.
So Fastlane.
Fastlane. Well, Fastlane is just one of those really forgettable pay-per-views.
I didn't watch.
I already said probably twice. Yeah, Joe didn't watch it. It's just one of those ones I feel like I'm always going to remember, not for like a good reason, but because I have that constant burden of, oh god, what if somebody references that video to me one day, what will happen then? Because if that does happen, I will probably die of embarrassment, especially if it's somebody I don't know well. Oh my god, imagine that.
Oh. Ooh.
Like, I go off to university and someone somehow manages to get the original video and they're just like, Jack, was this
They're
you?
a huge fan.
I would actually just die. Like, I don't know what would happen. I'd
That's what happened when I went to
collapse
college. I hid my channel. I hid my
as
channel
best
for
as you could.
months.
Yeah.
And then people from college
found
found Joe Sings just because they're like looking at my Facebook and found my channel. And oh my god, they literally played it in my library. I was just like, no! But now I embrace Joe Sings, and
how
I'm actually kind of proud of it.
Shit it is.
It's meant to be cringy though. It's always meant to be cringy, so
yeah,
it's sort of good.
I think obviously you have to have
take the pick out before it.
Yeah, I think my content now, I have a much greater level of self-awareness about myself now than I did when I made those Fastlane videos, because the Fastlane and Elimination Chamber reviews, because I'm going to let you in on an industry secret. I thought I was the fucking bee's knees making them. I was making them 100% seriously, doing that stupid voice, wearing that fucking mask. And like, especially Review Master Jack, episode 3, which again, I won't say the name of, I dressed up like a tramp in that video. And I thought like, oh, I look fucking sick, me. Look, fucking.
Oh god. Can you just quickly type in Discord which one that was? Because oh god, which one would it have been? Oh, I think I know it.
Dumb fucking video. It was awful.
Yeah. That was the one. Yeah.
That's the one I hate the most. I hate it.
That was good. Right.
I don't know what I was thinking.
We've gone on a huge tangent. Just forget.
Yeah.
Every topic we've gone to today. Just
genuine
tangent.
Like the lucha style of wrestling turned into tramp matches in Burton. Anyway.
That's what the ambulance match of like the fucking
a caravan match. Oh.
The caravan match. Oh my god, I want to see it. I really want to see it.
Bucket Vince.
Oh,
run the show in Cooper Square. Get a caravan match going.
I would watch it.
I would as well. Absolutely. But yeah, we'll move on to our final topic of today. As always, it is a specific wrestler. Last week we didn't even do a wrestler. We did Michael Cole. And in the first week, obviously, we did Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
Today, we've
not done a woman yet.
No, it's only episode 3. It's only episode 3, Joe. Jesus.
I know. Just like the masculine energy.
We'll get a woman talked about by the end of International Women's Month. Anyway.
yeah. We'll get G-Man on and he'll talk about. Oh no, it's probably not the best person.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
So, our topic today will be Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, Shinsuke Nakamura did actually wrestle on Fastlane 2018. I believe it was in a singles match against. I want to say Rusev.
Oh, was it?
Because it would have been in the build. Yeah, it would have been in the build to his Mania match with Styles. So I think he wrestled Rusev on this card, and he just beat him in like 10 minutes. It was crap. But
I did look up the card before this.
Yeah, like I think I skimmed it a couple of days ago when I was writing the list of topics. Yeah, Nakamura is a guy that I like a lot, but only because of what he's done outside of the company. So obviously, Joe, as the viewers might probably already know, Joe didn't watch New Japan, doesn't, and probably won't.
No.
So, like, his exposure to Nakamura before he joined the WWE was he probably never even heard of him.
very low. Nothing.
Yeah,
I
like
heard of him,
yeah.
but it's very low.
Now, when he joined WWE back in 2016, I also hadn't heard of him, but I think that was around the same time I started getting into like wrestling outside of WWE. Like, well, to be fair, I'd already actually been watching TNA at that point. Like, I remember TNA was actually, it sounds really bad, but TNA was what sort of got me into wrestling proper because like TNA was free and you get like the full show. So it was on Spike TV.
Yeah.
But anyway, when he joined the WWE in 2016, and obviously went straight to NXT, he had his match with Sami Zayn at TakeOver Dallas. I watched that match and I thought that match was very, very, very good. And I was like, wow, how come I've never heard of this guy? And he was pretty much my catalyst to go and start watching New Japan. Like, he came in, WWE were talking him up as, oh, he's this multi-time New Japan World Champion, He pretty much made the New Japan Intercontinental Championship what it was at the time, and what it still is even. Like, he is the greatest New Japan Intercontinental Champion of all time. I think most people would agree with me on that.
Mm.
And then obviously he comes to the WWE and he pretty much gets fast tracked to the NXT title. Like, he wins it off Samoa Joe almost straight away. And
Yeah.
him coming in and him being like this big guy and having all these good matches, I was like, I can't believe I never heard of him. I go back and like he gets me into New Japan. I watched Wrestle Kingdom 10 or 9 or whichever one it was where he had his first match with AJ Styles. That was a superb match. I think he had a match the year before against like Kota Ibushi. I watched that as well. That was superb. Like, he was constantly having all these really, really great matches. And he started in WWE and NXT having all these really great matches as well. And I was like, this guy should be going to the very top. He oozes charisma. Like, the only thing that's going against him is he can't speak English very well. So, obviously a couple of years pass, he wins the NXT title a couple more times after dropping it to like Samoa Joe and stuff. Then I think it's right about 2017, like WrestleMania time 2017. So he's in NXT for about a year. He debuts I think it's the week after WrestleMania or the SmackDown after WrestleMania on the Tuesday or whatever day it was. Yeah. Debuts on the Tuesday. And everyone's like, oh shit. The first warning sign for me that he wasn't going to do well on the main roster was his first program, which was he goes into a feud with everybody's favorite mid-card jobber, Dolph Ziggler. Now,
did he just like walk down the ramp and then just walk back up?
Yeah, for his debut appearance. No, I think that's pretty much bang on. I think Dolph Ziggler was given out about something in the ring, like, oh, I didn't get a big WrestleMania match. And then Nakamura comes out with a violinist, or violinist, however you pronounce it. Comes out with a fella playing the violin, does his big walk, taunts at Dolph, and he walks back. Historically, people debuting and going straight into a feud with Dolph Ziggler doesn't really work out. I believe that was what Baron Corbin did when he debuted.
Oh god.
That should have been the alarm bell straight away. But it was like a little warning sign. I was optimistic because I thought, you know what? Dolph's a decent wrestler. Naka's a great wrestler. These guys will probably have a pretty good match at Backlash. We get to Backlash. They have just like the most bog standard match you've probably ever seen. Like, so forgettable. Like, it was the epitome of a 5 out of 10. So I'm like, oh, well, that was a bit disappointing, but hopefully he can go into, like a feud for a title or something. Then he goes into a feud with Jinder over the WWE title, and we're like, okay, you know what? He's in the main event on SmackDown at least. This is a good sign. Even if it's against Jinder, he's in a WWE title match at SummerSlam, right? Good signs. Then the match is crap. Like, it's awful. I thought, obviously Jinder's not a good wrestler, but I thought maybe Naka could get something out of him. And he couldn't whatsoever. They didn't mesh at all. They didn't gel. The match suffered greatly for it. It was dog shite, if I'm being honest. Then they have a rematch at Hell in a Cell. Barely better. Then Jinder drops the title a couple of weeks later in Manchester on a show that I was actually supposed to go to, but my parents decided, nah. But I'm still pissed off about that, by the way. That was the Manchester SmackDown taping where AJ won the title, and we were going to go, and my parents were like, yeah, but these house show tickets are cheaper. And I'm like, you fucking bitch. Won't forgive him for that. Robbed me of seeing
a house
the first
show over
WWE title.
I've never been to a house show, but
mate, it was crap. It wasn't even like a SmackDown. It wasn't even a SmackDown
title
house
match. When I went to a taping, but there wasn't. I think it's like meant to be like CM Punk versus someone.
No,
you know how I
no
feel
showed,
about CM Punk.
CM Punk no showed. He knew you were there, and he just wanted to let you down.
No, I'm pretty sure it was there. They just didn't fucking do it. I don't know.
But anyway, so now AJ's got the belt. Good. And Naka's not really got anything to do, right? He's just sort of milling about for a couple weeks, and then boom, Royal Rumble 2018. The odds are posted. Who's the favourite? Roman Reigns is the favourite. Daniel Bryan is favoured to come back. Because this was the point where, like, apparently the signs were good for Bryan to be able to return soon. Before, obviously, he made the official announcement that he'd be returning. And I think Naka was 4th or 5th on the odds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So come the Royal Rumble, I think it gets down to the last 3. John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Nakamura. People are calling it the past, the present, and the future. Because people are really thinking Naka is going to be the future of this company. He was not. He wins the Royal Rumble match. Everyone is jubilant. He chooses AJ Styles, who is the WWE champion, obviously, at the time. And everyone is absolutely pissing themselves thinking about, oh my god, we're going to get AJ Styles versus Nakamura at WrestleMania.
Moment.
Then the match happens. It was, and I'm not going to mince my words, fucking awful. It was dog shit. Oh my lord. I hated that match. I waited so long to see Nakamura versus AJ Styles in a WWE ring, and they give us about 9 minutes of subpar SmackDown tier wrestling, and then they give us Nakamura's heel turn at the end. Then
That's
Nakamura's career just fell off a cliff. He got about probably 4 title shots against AJ Styles in the space of 3 months. And for some reason, he just decided to DQ himself in all of them. I don't know what the booking was thinking. Were they trying to get him over as a heel? Were they trying to get him over as... I don't know. I don't know what the booking decision was there. But at the Saudi show, they wrestled about 6 minutes before Naka kicked him in the cock. At Backlash, they wrestled about 11 minutes before they kicked each other in the cock. Then at Money in the Bank, I think there was a match on SmackDown in the weeks leading up to Money in the Bank. Naka, again, kicked him in the cock. Then at Money in the Bank, the finish to the match was they kept kicking each other in the cock until AJ caught his leg as he was going to kick him in the cock, kicked Naka in the cock, and Naka got counted out. At that point, I'd lost all faith in Nakamura. At this point, I knew he's not the guy. He's buried himself, essentially, by just putting on crap matches with terrible finishes and brain dead booking. Then he just sort of disappeared into the mid card for a while, you know? He won the US Championship, probably defended it about twice in the 4 months he had it, dropped it to Rusev, and then won it back. And then just, again, he just didn't defend it for ages and ages and ages. Like, I believe WrestleMania 35, he was still champion. He didn't have a championship match on the main card of WrestleMania or on the pre-show.
Wow, really?
He just didn't defend the title whatsoever. It was
Wow.
And ever since then, I'll be completely honest, I haven't even bothered trying to follow what he's done since then because, frankly, he hasn't done anything. All he's done is kick people in the cock, and that's it. He's flopped his opportunity to be the main event talent that he absolutely could have been, and he's just settled for getting a big paycheck to mill about in the mid card with Cesaro and Sami Zayn for the rest of his career. And apparently his contract's coming to an end very soon. And the likelihood is he's just going to leave.
Hopefully.
And he's just going to go back to New Japan.
Someone else will do better with him.
The chances are he's just going to go back to New Japan. He's just going to start getting booked properly again. And he's going to be, the world champion or whatever. He's going to be challenging, whoever the world champion is at the moment. Which, I'll be honest, I don't know who it is. I'm really following New Japan in a while, but it's just really painful. Like, Zack Ryder at least had his high points, right? Nakamura,
Yeah.
as soon as he debuted on the main roster, it was just a downward slope with there's like a little incline where he wins the Royal Rumble because everyone's like, oh shit, maybe he could actually win it at WrestleMania, right? And then it just like it just makes me sad, man.
I mean, I don't know much about Nakamura, but I remember the hype when he first got brought to WWE. And I was just like, oh, this is going to be good. It's going to be refreshing. It's going to be someone that I'm going to enjoy watching. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case, really. So
yeah, don't get me wrong. He's
it's
had good matches.
Shame.
He had decent matches in NXT, obviously, and even then on the main roster, he's had some okay matches, but it just feels like he gave up caring after the feud with Styles, and he was just working for a paycheck. Like, it felt like he'd fallen out of love with wrestling almost, just because of how horrendously he was being booked.
Yeah. But I think that's all we can really say about him. I mean, I don't have much I can say.
It's hard. It's hard to say something to wrap
it's
it
a
up,
shame.
really, because it really is. Like, I want to say something to wrap it up, but there's nothing to say because there's really nothing to say about his WWE career other than it's just a massive disappointment. like on any and every scale of it. It's just been a huge disappointment for all involved, other than obviously
Yeah,
Nakamura's paycheck, which I'm sure he's fucking chuffed about. But
definitely.
on
But
that rather depressing note,
on that bombshell.
and on that bombshell, yeah, I think we'll call that an episode. In the pocket.
I just want to say thank you, everyone, from me personally.
Yes, yeah,
I
thank
mean,
you, obviously, for...
it's great if you get to the end of
Oh, mate, if you actually manage to get to the
the
end of this
podcast.
podcast, you are a brave soul.
Everyone left after the fucking tramp.
They heard the tramp wrestling, they laughed so hard that they died. Because we're just so naturally funny.
yeah.
We are the future of
But
the YouTube wrestling scene, but not like I wanted to be in 2018, where I've got a stupid gimmick. We're just the faces of YouTube wrestling
no.
because everyone else has died off. Because nobody's watching any YouTube wrestling these days. Like, we're the faces because everyone else has left.
Everyone's doing Among Us podcast.
Yeah. The only people that are still left are What
Oh,
Culture
is that a
Wrestling.
thing? Oh.
Among Us podcast. Oh, of course it is, mate. Among Us podcast absolutely exists. The only people that are still going in the wrestling scene, other than us, are probably Cultaholic and What Culture Wrestling. I don't know how they're still going because, like, for a channel with how many million subscribers, they don't seem to get more than 100,000 views on a video ever.
No, that's true.
It's depressing for them.
That,
Like, they've just been on a massive downward spiral ever since the Cultaholic fellas left.
WCPW.
Well, yeah, even since WCPW, I think the start of WCPW was by far their peak. Like, that was when they were at the biggest, which is obviously why they started it. And then they started it, they lost a shit ton of money because nobody was watching it, other than like the first couple of episodes. Because obviously, like, I think I've said it before, I did watch the first episode, but it wasn't any good. And that's why nobody stayed around for the other episodes.
I mean,
Sort of like this podcast,
it has
really.
it has some good people
They
in
had good
it. I
wrestlers
mean,
on there, and they did
Cody Rhodes,
big. Yeah, I was gonna say they did
Drew
book like
Galloway.
big guys. You know, they had Drew Galloway, they had Kurt Angle, they had the Young Bucks, they had Cody Rhodes, they had Alberto El Patron. You know, they booked these big names. Just nobody watched because the actual production quality was, for a company that had so much, or allegedly had so much money, and they had all these like subscribers, they had all this funding behind it. It was just not good. Sort of like the WAP podcast, you know, all that funding
Yay!
behind it, and it still ends out like this.
We're getting paid by Spotify.
We're getting paid by the hour. That's why these podcasts are starting getting longer. We decided with Spotify pay us by the hour we do. That's why we've slyly been
we got to eat.
going on more tangents. Mate, we got to pay the bills, you know. Call me Heath Slater because
24-hour.
I got kids.
We got kids, exactly. But
not with each other. We would like to point out.
Adopted one. A bloody modern family. We're a Vietnamese child.
Yes. Yep. To be fair,
No Modern Family fan. No.
I was about to. Yeah, I'll say it. I could legally adopt a child quite soon, so you never know. Special guest coming up, my adoptive child, Caleb. You know, that's a shit name. I'm calling him fucking Caleb. What am I thinking?
Can you pick the name?
It depends how old they are.
Is it like a dog? Like, can you pick the name?
Yeah. You adopt a 10-year-old, just start calling it by a completely different name. They're just like, well, that's not my name. It is now.
Johnny! Come get an ice cream, Johnny. He just doesn't respond to you.
Yeah, stop calling me that.
That's why there's so many grown men named Keith. They weren't. They weren't.
They were just adopted
born
and
with
renamed as Keith.
Yeah, right on their 18th birthday.
Exactly. Right. Well.
But no, that's I'll let you do the outro.
Viewers of all ages and sizes and genders, because as we know from Joe's earlier comments, we don't discriminate.
Yep.
Thank you for watching / listening, because obviously there's no video content to this.
Thank you for watching the thumbnail, everyone.
Yeah, well, thank you for just watching a video of the thumbnail. I'm sure it's been great fun for them.
Yeah.
We do plan to record this in the same place at some point. When that will be, neither of us know. But it will help remove technical difficulties. So,
no.
Hopefully sometime soon. Obviously, we're doing this weekly. So look out for the next episode next Tuesday and every Tuesday until we quit, which, I mean, at the minute, I don't feel like it any time soon. I think, we're still going steady.
No, it's going strong.
It is. I think the content is good. It's just nobody's watching yet. But they'll come.
Yeah. And we'll be here. We'll be ready.
And we'll be here probably on like episode 37 or something. Still slaving away. Still haven't.
That sounds sexual.
Yeah. Oh
no. God no. I'll think of like wrestling terms.
If you want to get oiled up, be my guest. But I'm not going to join you in that. Thank you very much.
Gonna make you squeal like a pig.
It's getting weird now. All right.
End it now.
Right. Thank you for watching, guys / listening. Tune in next week for another. I was going to make a joke. Joe, you got jokes? Give us a joke. Close the show.
Waptastic.
Is that it? Oh, I've got a good one. Joe, you didn't tell me you knew Scott.
Scott who?
Chegg. You went to school with him.
Fuck off.
Scott Chegg.
You twat.
And
I think my sister. No, you gotta give me time to explain that. No, my sister once fucking said that joke, and it's so cringy. And I just fucking thought of that.
Good.
No, it's not. Oh, if you said like wapeg or something.
Oh. What? No, mate. Right, we're calling it there. Thank you for listening, guys.
Wapeg.
We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.